yeah, so today my topic is winning over Asia, the next frontier. Yeah. And a brief introduction about myself. My name is Francis. I'm from the Facebook Global Gaming team, same as Elena and Ego. And I'm activation partner. So what's activation partner, right? We are actually helping APAC developers, gaming developers, to take their games to global. So that's my job in Facebook. So first question we ask ourselves is why Asia? Can anyone tell me why Asia? Okay, so the first, this is the topic, right? World population is about 7.6 billion now, right? And Asia population, it's about 4.4 billion. So 60% of the world population actually is in Asia. And if this is the whole world, Asia is this big in terms of numbers of people. You might say, okay, so many people, but seriously, where's the money? Right? Where's the money for gaming? Are these valuable users in Asia, or it's just number of people? So, so question number one question for you guys. How many percentage of global game revenue comes from APAC? 1, 2, 1 is 32%, 2 is 42, 3 is 52, 4 is 62. Anyone guess 1? 1? 2? 3? 4? Okay. Let me review the answer. The answer is actually 52%. So this is from Newzoo. So out of the whole global gaming revenue, more than half of the global game revenue actually come from APAC, and it's about $71.4 billion in 2018. This is a yearly trend. So 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and by 2021, it's the total games revenue. It's about 180 billion, and 54% actually come from Asia. And you might ask me like, what that translates to, right? So I make a slide for you. So if this is Asia and this is the rest of the world, this is 2018, 71.7 billion. For rest of the world, it's about 66.2 billion, right? 2021, Asia is going to be 97.2 billion in terms of games revenue. Rest of the world is 82.8 billion. And the growth rates for this from 2018 to 2021, Asia is going to add another 25 billion. The rest of the world is going to add only 16 billion. So about 60% of the growth also come from Asia. So 60% of the population come from Asia, and in the next 3 years, 60% of all growth will come from Asia. So that's why you must go to Asia. And then second question, it's like there's console, there's PC, there's mobile. You might ask me why mobile. I'll show you some slides, and you can really understand like mobile is really growing. This is from Newzoo also. So you can see from here, actually 51% of all gaming revenue come from mobile, which is a 70 billion market. 24% come from PC, 25% come from console. And in 2018, 51% of the global market, 70.3 billion, is going to come from mobile gaming. And you will ask, like, is mobile going to grow, or it's already saturated? You can see from here, this is from 2012 to 2021. The blue thing that's really going up is mobile, right? Is going up is mobile. And of course, you will ask me like, okay, what's the growth here? Same thing, I make a slide for you for easier to understand. So PC gaming, console, and mobile. 2018, 33.1 billion. Console, 34.5 billion. Mobile, 70.3 billion. In 2021, you can see PC gaming never grow a lot, right? Console grow about a bit. But really, the one that grow a lot is from mobile, which is here. So mobile will actually add $35.9 billion. And mobile gaming will be the 100 billion industry and will take 85% of all growth in the next 3 years. So that's why you must go to Asia and you must do mobile games, all right? And then next thing is really to the main meat part of this presentation is what do you need to know about Asia. I mainly deal with China developers, so this is the part I'm quite good at. So first thing is China, right? Because China, it's about almost half of all Asia revenue come from China alone. And there's a 1.4 billion gamers in this country. So China, what's one thing you know about China? Great Wall. Anyone can guess what I'm trying to say about this? Separated, yes, correct. So in overseas, we have Facebook, Instagram. In China, we have WeChat, Weibo, right? In overseas, we have Google Play. In China, we have Yingyongbao. And then overseas, we have Visa, MasterCard. China have another payment system. We have YouTube, they have Youku. We have Uber, they have Didi, and so on. So in China, it's an entirely different ecosystem in terms of internet, media, advertising, and so on. So it's really difficult. And people want, China developers, I mainly deal with them. They want to get out, and many people want to go in, right? And second thing, what is this? This is actually wuxia. So if you want to go to China, you need to understand about Chinese culture because most of their games are based on wuxia or sanguo. Sanguo is three kingdoms. In China, in the ancient time, there's a three region in China, and then they fight each other, so that's why they have sanguo. So these are the two teams that are very popular in terms of their gaming, and people grew up with these two cultures. So if you want to go to China, you need to understand the local culture a lot. And yeah, this one. So overseas, we really hate pay-to-win game. We think it's unfair, but in China, it's really common. Like if you in China, a pay-to-win game is the way to make money, and people think it's fair. So this is the difference between China and the global market. So key takeaways for China, it's they have an entirely different internet ecosystem. They have a very Chinese art style kind of market. So when you want to consider China as your market, do consider incorporating some Chinese art style in your game. And then they are MMORPG market. And obviously, it's a pay-to-win market. Every time a Chinese server open in China, people will spend like $10,000 or $20,000 just to be at the top of the server. So every time this happens, and every day, my advertisers tell me, like, I'm willing to open servers because these people just pay, and they don't play. In China, there's also another game called, I don't know whether you know, idle games. So basically, you don't play. You just leave it there, and then they do everything themselves. But at the end of it, you still pay for it to play. You just, like when you work, you like to see the heroes moving, fighting, and so on. So that idle game or idle game style is actually very famous in China. And then the next market we're going to go to is Korea. Second question. What is the iOS and Android split for Korea market? Is it 1, 40% iOS, 60% Android? 2, 30% iOS, 70% Android? 3, 20%, 80%? 4, 10%, 90%? Who guesses 1? No one guesses 1. 2? 3? 4? Very good. Wrong. It's number 3 actually. So if you look at the circle there, you can see that actually 80% is Android market, about 20% is iOS market. So it's a very Android-driven market. But you can see here, the population is small. It's about 50 million, but with one of the highest smartphone penetration. So 91% penetration, and they are heavily dominated by Android OS. Anyone can tell me one cool thing about the internet in Korea, mobile internet? Fast, correct. It's 4G. But I can tell you their 4G, it's free. Not free, as in you pay a fixed fee, but you can use unlimited. So it's very different from US market or Singapore market and the rest of the market. So it's you pay a fixed fee, like probably like $10 a month, but you get 4G unlimited. So the games there are like you can have 2 gig, 3 gig APK, but it still work in Korea. So it's a very hardcore market. And second, it's Korea like being trendy, right? You know, like cosmetic, yeah, they are being at the forefront. Fashion, they are also at the forefront. So your games, they also like it trendy. Once it's trendy, it will catch on the vibe. So like people like to do a lot of, they like to hire celebrities. They like to do offline marketing. So in outside of Korea, China, Taiwan, and Japan, no one really do offline marketing for games, but it's very common in these markets to do offline marketing. So being trendy. And second, it's they like to use a lot of celebrity in local market to publish their games. You can see from here, or are like actually top local artists, and they actually use them to gain awareness. This brings back to the same point, right? I mean, you use celebrity, that means you are trendy. So the two things come together at the same thing. And then the next thing, when I published games in Korea before, so like community is really important. There's this thing called Naver Cafe. You have to be on it, like 100% have to go to Naver Cafe and build something on it. If you don't go on it, no one will like know your game. So Naver Cafe is very important. And lastly, pre-registration is very important. So you can see here, before you publish your games, these are the top pre-registration apps that you need to be on before you publish your games. So people will actually go in, actually like get gifts before the game publish, and then when your game's published, they will send notification. So pre-registration in Korea is really, really very important. So key takeaways for Korea, it's first, it's a free 4G, so 80% Android market, and it's a unlimited 4G market. So you can have very hardcore games in Korea. Second, games community and being trendy is important. And pre-registration market is also very important. Anyone guess what is this? Japan, yes. So just now, I will just cover top three markets in Asia. So China, Japan, Korea are the top 3 Asia markets in terms of revenue and in terms of revenue. Yep. Of course, you can't take population. India is the biggest actually. So Japan, what's so interesting about Japan is the highest ARPU value market in the world. As you can see here, this is in terms of the growth rates. I mean, Japan is in low growth now, but you can see in terms of the ARPU number, it's very high than the rest of the world. And second, guess what is this? What I want to say for this? Pokemon. You know Tamagotchi? You know Pokemon? Yeah. So Japan players love to collect heroes, collect cards, and grow them. So collect them all, right? This is what they say for Pokemon. So they like to collect all this, and it's a very gacha market. So like you collect heroes, you draw heroes from the game. And this might be disappointing, but Japan market it's highly dominated by local game developers, and it's because of their context and culture, right? You can see Japan art style is very different from Western art style, and then the Japan players have very strong preference towards like local make art style, and second is the language barrier, which makes Western developer difficult from tapping into it. But we can see from recent years, it's getting better, right? From 93% in 2015 to about 87% in 2017. So green color, it's Japan developers. The rest of it is other people. So it's slowly coming down, and we can say that the trend is going forward. From our knowledge in the market, more and more players are going into Japan because it's a very lucrative market, highest ARPU market, and once you get it, once you are in it, then you can earn a lot of money actually. Key takeaways for Japan, highest ARPU market in the world. Japan art style, and they like to collect heroes. Third is highly domestic, but overseas developers is gaining the ground. So gaining a lot of market share right now, especially China developers. They are all into Japan right now. Lastly, I like to bring through like the Asia gaming trend. This is what we observe coming from APEC, what we observe gaming is going towards, and I thought it would be a good reference for you. One thing is Fortnite gaining a lot of traction, PUBG, Mobile Legends, so MOBA and actually Battle Royale kind of games. So you can see here. So I think like real-time strategy have already come to mobile. If you look at how PC have evolved from turn-based games to turn-based strategy to real-time strategy, the two really big genres or three really big genres that remain in PC are FPS, MOBA, and actually these two actually. And it's the same for, I think it's going to be the same for mobile. So real-time strategy have come to mobile. Yep. And not many developers can develop this kind of games, right? If you think about like FPS and MOBA, they take a lot of resources to develop, and the investment is huge. So we can see that there are actually hyper-casual and casual games developers coming up. Because they cannot reach here, they will go to the next one, which is WeChat mini games. So like HTML5 games is actually very popular right now in Asia. Japan, Korea, China, and Southeast Asia actually have all their own platform about HTML5 games. And then you can see here, Japan is also have HTML5 platform. And then, of course, Facebook also have our own instant games. And the last trend actually in Asia, it's one is esports. So esports is huge in China right now. They have like stadiums like that where everyone is sitting around and watching the game itself, especially mobile, especially like Battle Royale. And then second one, it's if it's online, it's live game streaming. So live game streaming is also huge in Asia right now. So those are the key points. So key points of upcoming trend. One is real-time strategy, competitive gameplay. Is going to be the next wave in mobile. Second is HTML5 platform are gaining ground. So people that cannot do like real-time strategy games, they will go to casual to mid-core. And then HTML5 platform is gaining ground. And then lastly, live game streaming and esports are the next wave also. Okay, cool. That's bring me to the end of the presentation. Thank you.